The story begins with a king who has just come out of a brutal and bloody war. After all the fighting, he finally becomes a king, achieving the highest position he could ever reach. However, even after gaining all of this, he does not feel happy. Because of this sadness and loneliness, he eventually decides to take his own life. But instead of everything ending, something completely unexpected happens. He is reincarnated into another world. When he opens his eyes again, he sees a man and a woman looking at him. These two people are actually his new parents in this new life. His father, Reynold, gives him a name, Arthur. At first, Arthur does not understand what is happening. He does not recognize them and feels confused because he does not yet realize that he has been reborn into a completely different world. As the man and woman introduce themselves as his parents and take care of him, Arthur slowly begins to understand the truth. He realizes that he has been reincarnated. Even though his parents are kind and loving, Arthur is not pleased with his situation. He hates the fact that he is now a helpless baby who has to depend on others for everything. In his previous life, he was powerful and independent, so this new weakness frustrates him a lot. At first, he thinks that all of this might just be a dream. He believes that if he tries hard enough, he might wake up and return to his original world. However, no matter what he does, the dream does not break and he is forced to accept that this is now his reality. Soon, Arthur discovers something even more surprising about this new world. He learns that people here can use magic. His father is a strong fighter, and his mother is a talented healer. This fascinates Arthur because magic did not exist in the same way in his previous life. Because of this, he decides to stay calm and carefully observe everything around him instead of acting out. He watches his father train with weapons and use magical abilities. From this, Arthur understands that in this world, it is normal for people to fight and protect themselves. This makes him realize that he also needs to become strong as soon as possible to survive. Even though being a baby frustrates him, he also notices something peaceful about this life. For the first time, he can sleep without constantly fearing attacks like he did in his past life. As months pass, Arthur slowly gains control over his small body. He learns how to move quietly without attracting attention. One day, he manages to sneak into a study room and grabs a book. He strongly believes that knowledge is power, so he starts reading and learning as much as he can about this new world. Through his studies, Arthur learns that the world is divided into several kingdoms. There is the Dwarf Kingdom, which is the underground nation of dwarves. Then there is the Elenoir Kingdom, home to the elves. Finally, there is the Sapien Kingdom, where Arthur has been reborn. This kingdom has the largest population and is mainly made up of humans. It is ruled by a monarchy, but unlike his previous world, power here is passed down through generations instead of being taken by force through war. Arthur also notices that this world is less developed compared to his previous one. However, the existence of magic makes it unique and powerful in its own way. He learns that magic is actually quite rare, with only about 1 out of every 100 people being able to use it. There are two main types of magic in this world, augmenting and conjuring. Augmenting is used to enhance the body, making a person stronger, faster, and more powerful. On the other hand, conjurers can control magic directly and use the 5 natural elements. However, Arthur notices something strange. His mother's healing magic is not mentioned in the book, which makes him curious. He also learns that the key to using magic lies in controlling something called a magic core inside the body. Since Arthur remembers a similar concept from his previous life, where it was known as ki, he already has an advantage. He understands how to sense and use this kind of energy. However, before he can fully focus on using magic, he is suddenly interrupted in a funny and embarrassing way. His mother realizes that he has soiled himself, and he did not even notice it. This reminds him again that he is still just a baby. As years pass, Arthur continues to learn more about the world. He observes his father practicing magic and realizes that Reynold is an augmenter. This motivates Arthur even more. He understands that he cannot behave like a normal child. Instead of wasting time, he decides to focus on learning and becoming stronger. Finally, Arthur begins to seriously study magic. He sits down and concentrates, trying to form his own magic core. To do this, he needs to gather all the small fragments of magic energy inside his body into one single point. This is the first step toward gaining true power in this new world, and Arthur is determined to succeed. After studying for almost 2 years, Arthur finally gains enough knowledge to create a magic core. A sudden blast happens inside the house. Reynold quickly protects Alice, and both of them rush inside, worried about what just happened. When they enter, they are completely shocked. They see their 2-year-old son floating in the air using magic. Arthur has successfully formed his magic core. However, in that moment, things go out of control. The ceiling of the house starts collapsing and is about to fall on him. Arthur feels fear as he does not want to die like this. Luckily, his parents react quickly and save him before anything bad happens. At that moment, Arthur realizes something important. As long as his parents are with him, he does not need to worry. They will always protect him no matter what happens. This feeling is new to him. In his previous life he had no parents and grew up in an orphanage. But now he finally understands what it feels like to have a loving family. As time passes, Arthur grows older and becomes able to walk and run on his own. His father starts teaching him how to fight. During this training, Reynold realizes something surprising. His young son is already a better fighter and magic user than him. This makes Reynold doubt himself. He starts wondering if he is good enough to be Arthur's teacher. Because of this, he thinks about hiring someone stronger to train Arthur and help him become even more powerful. He also considers sending Arthur to a magic school. However, Arthur's mother does not like this idea. She does not want to send her child away from home. This leads to arguments between his parents. They both care about Arthur, but they have different opinions about what is best for him. To stop them from fighting, Arthur comes up with a different idea. Instead of being separated, he suggests that the whole family should move to the city together. This way he can learn and grow without leaving them behind. The next morning, Reynold calls his friends, Adam, Angela, Rose, Durden, Walker, Helen, and Jasmine. Soon after, Arthur and his parents begin their journey in a carriage. While traveling, Arthur notices how simple and underdeveloped this world is compared to his previous life, where advanced flying machines existed. During their journey, they stop to rest, but suddenly they are attacked by a pack of dangerous wolves. Even so, no one panics because all of them are skilled fighters. While watching them fight, Arthur learns more about their abilities. Jasmine, Helen, and Adam are augmenters, while Angela and Durden Walker are conjurers. Later that night, Arthur learns something new about his mother. She is a special type of magic user called an emitter. This type of magic user is very rare, which makes them valuable but also puts them in danger. Because of this, his parents chose to live in the countryside to stay hidden and avoid attention. Soon after, Adam challenges Arthur to a practice match. He calls it a test, but Arthur understands that it will be more serious than that. Still, he cannot refuse since his parents allow it. During the fight, Arthur uses all his strength. He shows incredible speed and power, far beyond what a normal child could do. Even though he has the ability to defeat Adam, his small and lightweight body becomes a disadvantage. After all, he is still only 4 years old. When the fight ends, everyone starts scolding Adam for going too hard on a young child. However, Adam defends himself, saying that Arthur fought like someone with years of training and gave him a real challenge. Jasmine is also impressed and becomes curious about Arthur's abilities. She asks him how he became so strong, but Arthur chooses not to reveal anything. As their journey continues, they keep stopping along the way to train Arthur. With each session he becomes stronger, faster, and more precise. But Arthur is not the only one learning. He also helps Jasmine improve by teaching her how to move faster, just like he did during his fight with Adam. Because of this, on Arthur's birthday, Jasmine gives him a knife as a gift to thank him for teaching her how to become faster. It is a simple but meaningful gift, showing how much she respects his skills. As they continue their journey toward the city, everything suddenly takes a dangerous turn. They are ambushed by a large group of bandits. At first, Reynold and his companions manage to fight back and defeat several of them. However, the number of enemies keeps increasing, and it soon becomes clear that they are badly outnumbered. During the fight, Reynold gets injured. He quickly realizes that they are in a situation where survival is almost impossible if they keep fighting like this. Alice wants to join the battle and use her powers, but Reynold stops her. He warns her not to reveal her abilities as it could make things even worse. Instead, he tells Alice and Arthur to run away. Arthur does not want to leave. He refuses to act like a coward and abandon everyone else to die. But Reynold firmly tells him to focus on protecting his mother, especially because she is pregnant. Hearing this, Arthur understands the seriousness of the situation. He knows that escaping with his mother is the only choice. Arthur grabs Alice's hand and runs as fast as he can, while Reynold and the others fight to clear a path for them. As they try to escape, one of the enemy mages attacks them using wind magic. Arthur notices the attack just in time and pushes his mother out of danger. However, he himself gets caught in the attack and is thrown off a cliff. Even in that moment, Arthur does not give up. He quickly throws his knife, tying it with a thread, and manages to pull the enemy mage down with him. Angela and Durden try to save Arthur using their magic, but they are too late. Arthur continues falling down the cliff with no way to stop. As he falls, Arthur begins to understand what it truly means to have a family. In his previous life, he never experienced this kind of bond. Now, he realizes that he is willing to sacrifice himself without hesitation to protect them. Tears fill his eyes as he falls, and he feels sad that he might die before even getting the chance to become an older brother. Later, when Arthur opens his eyes, he finds himself inside a cave. However, he is not alone. A strange figure is sitting in front of him. Seeing this, Arthur immediately reacts and tries to attack, thinking the person is a threat. But the figure easily stops him and throws him away with just one finger. Arthur, now overwhelmed, starts to cry. The figure then speaks in a calm female voice and calls him by his name. She tells him that he is lucky to have survived such a fall. After that, she picks some mango-like fruits growing inside the cave. These fruits seem to contain magical energy, and she suggests that Arthur eat them. Arthur, however, is more worried about his parents and asks if they are safe. The woman tells him that he should eat first if he wants answers. Without wasting time, Arthur begins eating the fruits. After finishing, he again asks about his parents. The woman explains that she is confined to the cave and cannot leave, but her powers allow her to see things far beyond normal limits. She then uses her magic to summon a mirror. Through the mirror, Arthur sees that the bandits have been defeated and his parents have continued their journey. Relieved to know that his parents are most likely safe, Arthur feels happy and thanks her. The mysterious woman then introduces herself as Sylvia. With no other choice, Arthur stays in the cave to recover from his injuries. Days turn into weeks as he heals. Even after recovering, he cannot leave because, according to Sylvia, the area outside is extremely dangerous, filled with wild beasts and bandits. Sylvia understands that Arthur wants to return to his family as soon as possible. She tells him that there is a way to send him back safely, but it requires a lot of preparation. During this time, Arthur learns more about Sylvia. Even though she looks like a terrifying and powerful being, she is actually kind and gentle. One day, Sylvia notices Arthur using magic and becomes curious. She decides to teach him something new. She demonstrates a technique where she gathers magical energy while using it at the same time. Arthur compares this to a machine being refueled while still running. Arthur had read about such a concept but did not know it was possible. Sylvia explains that humans limit themselves because they believe they can only gather or use magic at one time. However, creatures like mana beasts can do both naturally. She offers to teach Arthur this rare ability, but first she asks him an important question. She wants to know what he plans to do once he becomes powerful. Arthur answers honestly, saying that he wants to take revenge on the bandits who tried to harm his family. Hearing this, Sylvia immediately rejects him. She tells him that he has failed her test because she does not want to give power to someone driven by revenge. Arthur argues that killing enemies is normal, but Sylvia disagrees. She explains that revenge only continues a cycle of hatred that never truly ends. She does not want Arthur to waste his life chasing vengeance. She then asks him the same question again. This time, Arthur thinks carefully before answering. He says that he wants to become strong so he can protect the people he cares about. This answer satisfies Sylvia, as it shows a better purpose for his strength. At the same time, far away, another powerful mana beast, one of Sylvia's own kind, is searching for her and is slowly getting closer to her hidden location. At the same time, Sylvia finally begins properly teaching Arthur how to control his magic and use a rare technique, gathering magical energy while using it at the same time. According to Sylvia, if Arthur masters this skill, his power will grow far beyond normal limits. While training, Arthur is reminded of his previous life. He remembers that even though he was called a king, he was never truly free. The Parliament controlled him and used him as a tool to wage wars against other nations. In reality, he was nothing more than a weapon of destruction. Putting those thoughts aside, Arthur focuses completely on his training. After continuous effort, he finally manages to use magic while gathering energy at the same time. Just as he succeeds, Sylvia suddenly flicks him into a corner with one finger. It is not to hurt him but to hide him. She quickly tells him to stay silent. From his hiding place, Arthur sees another person appear in front of Sylvia. The man has ash blue eyes and a dangerous presence. He tells Sylvia to come with him, but she refuses. This angers him, and he immediately attacks her using dark magic, injuring her. Even while being attacked, Sylvia uses telepathy to tell Arthur to remain hidden. Arthur is forced to watch everything in silence as Sylvia struggles to fight back. Knowing she is already weak, Sylvia uses her final form, even though it consumes a huge amount of energy. She fires a powerful beam of energy at the man. In response, the man creates multiple dark energy spheres and launches them toward Sylvia. The entire cave begins to shake violently and starts collapsing. When the man prepares to use an even more dangerous attack, Sylvia realizes that Arthur might also die if this continues. To protect him, she uses a special ability and freezes time itself. With everything stopped, Sylvia quickly brings Arthur to her side and opens a portal. She tells him that the portal will take him to a safe place where he can reunite with his parents. However, Sylvia is too weak and injured to go with him. She knows her time is almost over. Before sending him away, she gives Arthur a gift, a magical core and a feather to safely hold it. Then she moves closer to him and casts another spell. Strange tattoo-like markings appear on Arthur's arms, similar to the ones on her body. This grants him a hidden power. Sylvia then admits something honestly. She says she could have sent him back earlier, but she chose not to because she wanted to spend more time with him. She had grown fond of him. Arthur understands that he is still too weak to save her. With emotion in his voice, he calls her grandmother. This makes Sylvia happy, but she still urges him to leave quickly. With no other choice, Arthur takes the feather and the magical core and steps into the portal. Even as he leaves, his heart wants to stay with her. Sylvia closes the portal, sending Arthur away. Then she releases the frozen time and is immediately immediately hit by a powerful attack. Despite this, she is not dead yet. She waits until the enemy comes closer and then uses the last of her strength to release another massive energy blast, creating a huge explosion. Inside the portal, Arthur hears a message left behind by Sylvia. From this, he learns that she already knew about his past life as a king and his reincarnation. He also realizes that it was Sylvia who brought him into this world in the first place. With this truth, Arthur makes a decision. He will protect this life that Sylvia saved, not just once but twice. After returning to the outside world, Arthur moves quickly through the forest using his magic. While traveling, he comes across a group of bandits. They have kidnapped a young elf girl, planning to sell her for a high price since elves are rare. Arthur watches them from a distance. At first, he feels the urge to take revenge, but then he remembers the promise he made to Sylvia. Instead of acting recklessly, he decides to follow them and wait for the right moment. However, when the bandits begin to harm the girl, Arthur can no longer stay still. He takes action. First, he targets the hounds tied to the carriage by throwing small stones at them. This creates a distraction, causing one of the bandits to move away and check. At that moment, Arthur strikes. He quickly ambushes the bandit and takes him down using his magic, beginning his fight to save the girl. Arthur quickly grabs the fallen man's knife and uses it to take down the second bandit. When the third bandit comes to check, Arthur attacks and injures him. The injured man calls for help, alerting the fourth bandit. The last one is different. He can use magic and is also skilled in fighting. He plans to capture Arthur and sell him. Because of his strength, the bandit manages to catch Arthur for a moment. But Arthur uses fire magic to burn him and escape. From a distance, Arthur attacks again and defeats him as well. After that, Arthur goes back and finishes off the third bandit he had left alive. With all the enemies gone, he frees the little elf girl. When the girl sees blood on Arthur's hands, she gets worried. Arthur tells her that they are just small scratches and nothing serious. He then realizes that this is the first time he has met a girl who is around his age. Arthur covers the bodies of the dead bandits with a cloth because he does not want the girl to see such a disturbing sight. As Arthur is about to leave her behind, the girl suddenly grabs his hand tightly. She does not say anything, but it is clear that she wants to go with him. Seeing how helpless she is reminds Arthur of his own childhood in his past life, when he was abandoned and alone. Because of this, he cannot leave her and decides to let her come along. Before they leave, the girl frees the hounds tied to the carriage. She knows that if they are left behind, they will die. She risks her own safety just to save them. Seeing her kindness, Arthur decides to help her return home safely. During their journey, they stop to eat. Arthur gives her some food, and this is when he learns her name, Tesha. However, Tesha complains that the food smells strange and says she does not like it. For Arthur, food is just something to survive, so he does not mind it at all. Tesha then asks Arthur what he is doing in the forest. Arthur tells her that he got lost after being separated from his family. As they continue talking, Arthur asks her about the land of the elves, Elenoir. As time passes, he realizes that her home is much farther away than he had expected. When night falls, they set up a tent. Arthur decides to stay outside and keep watch for monsters and other dangers while Tesha sleeps. However, Tesha feels scared being alone inside the tent. Even though she does not say it directly, she insists that Arthur come inside. Inside the tent, Tesha starts talking. She says that she has heard that human men are perverts who have multiple wives. Arthur calmly replies that being a pervert is not limited to one race, and even elves can be like that. For Arthur, this moment feels new and warm. For the first time, he feels like he has a younger sister, something he never had in his previous life. The next morning, they continue their journey. Arthur feels happy seeing Tesha slowly becoming more comfortable and open. At the same time, he still feels impatient because he really wants to see his family again. As they travel deeper into the forest toward Elenoir, Arthur suddenly feels a sharp pain in his chest near his magic core. Tesha quickly runs off to find herbs that might help him. At that moment, one of the carriage hounds appears again. This time it does not attack. Instead, it brings a pig for them to use as food. It drops the animal and quietly disappears back into the forest. Arthur and Tesha cook the meat and finally get a proper meal. They also use some healing mushrooms that Tesha found. The next morning, they continue their journey and soon find a large tree with a portal. Tesha becomes excited because this is the entrance to her home, the kingdom of Elenoir. She quickly runs inside and Arthur follows her. The portal takes them to the land of the elves. However, as soon as they arrive, a group of guards surrounds them and arrests Arthur. Tesha can only stand there and watch. The guards call Arthur a filthy human who has entered the land of the elves without permission. It turns out that humans are not allowed in this kingdom. Arthur calls out to Tesha for help, but she remains silent, just standing there as he is taken away. Soon, the guards prepare to execute Arthur for trespassing. Just before they can kill him, Tesha steps in and stops them. She tries to convince the guards to spare his life, explaining that Arthur is the one who saved her. However, the guards refuse to listen to her. They are about to carry out the execution when suddenly a portal opens out of nowhere. An old man steps out of it. This man is Virion, the former ruler of the kingdom and Tesha's grandfather. Virion immediately thanks Arthur for saving and bringing back the princess Tesha. Hearing this, Arthur is shocked. He realizes that the girl he had been traveling with all this time is actually the princess of the elf kingdom. Soon after, Tesha's parents arrive, the king and queen of the kingdom. When the queen sees that Arthur is a human, she becomes angry and orders the soldiers to kill him immediately. But the king learns that it was Virion who stopped them and that Arthur saved their daughter's life. Even though the king is still unhappy about a human being inside the kingdom, he cannot go against his daughter Tesha. Because of this, he holds back. Tesha then grabs Arthur's hand and pulls him inside the kingdom. As they enter, Arthur sees the beauty of the elf land. There are many unique houses, and some of them are even built on or around giant trees. Inside the palace, Tesha introduces Arthur to the maids and others as a good human. She seems happy to have him there. However, before she can start playing with him, Arthur insists that he must first explain everything to the king and queen. The king agrees to listen, but Tesha is also present in the room, which makes Arthur feel a bit uncomfortable. Arthur introduces himself and tells them about his background. Even though he comes from a simple family, his manners impress them. Then he explains everything that happened, from the bandit attack on his family to how he got separated, and how he later found Tesha being kidnapped and saved her. Virion then questions Arthur. He asks how such a small child could defeat grown men. When Arthur says that he used magic, the king and the guards do not believe him. They think he is lying because it seems impossible for a child to do that. At that moment, Tesha speaks up. She confirms that Arthur is telling the truth and that he really did save her. After that, Arthur makes a request. He asks the king to help him return to his own kingdom so he can reunite with his parents. But this only makes the king angry. He does not like humans and has no desire to help one. Tesha becomes upset with her father, and since the king loves his daughter, he softens a little. He explains that the special gates used for travel can only be accessed by council members and only open once every 5 years. Since they have already been closed, Arthur would have to wait 5 years before he can return. The king is not happy about keeping a human in the elf kingdom for that long. Because of this, he decides to send Arthur back the next day using a carriage instead. As Arthur waits for the next morning, he once again feels a sharp pain in his chest. He realizes that something is wrong with his magic core and that he needs to fix it before it gets worse. While he is lost in his thoughts, Tesha comes to him. She looks worried and apologizes for how her parents treated him. Arthur tells her that he does not mind because he understands that parents can be protective, especially when it comes to their children. Arthur starts to feel worried that his parents might not accept him when he returns. In his mind, he thinks it was his fault that they had to travel, which led to the bandit attack. However, Tesha does not agree with him. She believes his parents must miss him a lot and will be very happy to see him again. As they continue talking, a group of glowing fireflies appears around them, creating a calm and beautiful moment. Suddenly, one of the fireflies is thrown directly at Tesha. Arthur reacts instantly and protects her, then quickly moves toward the one who threw it. It turns out to be Virion, Tesha's grandfather. He was testing Arthur to confirm whether he was really the one who fought the bandits and saved Tesha. After seeing Arthur's quick reaction, Virion becomes more convinced, but he is still not fully satisfied. Virion then challenges Arthur to a duel and gives him a wooden sword. Arthur does not hesitate and goes all out, even though he knows Virion is still very strong despite his age. Arthur attacks with great speed, but Virion easily dodges all his moves. Then Virion suddenly breaks Arthur's wooden sword with his bare hands. A broken piece flies toward Tesha, but Arthur quickly reacts and throws his own broken sword to stop it from hitting her. Arthur does not stop there. He keeps attacking, now using pure magic with more focus and intensity. Virion reacts quickly and pushes him back with force, but Arthur does not give up. He jumps forward again without hesitation and manages to land a clean hit on Virion's forehead, surprising everyone watching. Before the fight can continue any further, Tesha quickly steps in between them and stops the duel. She does not want things to go too far. Virion, however, is now truly impressed by what Arthur has shown. Seeing his talent and determination, he offers to take Arthur as his apprentice and train him personally. Arthur feels a bit unsure about this offer. Deep down, he still wants to return home and let his parents know that he is alive and safe. But Virion calmly tells him that there is a way to inform them without him leaving the kingdom right now. At that exact moment, Arthur suddenly feels a sharp and painful sensation in his chest again. The pain is strong and hard to ignore. Virion immediately understands what is happening. He realizes that Arthur has inherited the power and will of a beast. With a serious expression, he warns Arthur that if he does not learn to control this power properly under his guidance, it could become dangerous and may even cost him his life. The next morning, the king and queen are clearly unhappy and angry. They do not agree with Virion's decision to let Arthur stay in the elf kingdom. Even so, Virion does not change his mind. Ignoring their objections, he takes Arthur and Tesha along with him in a carriage and leaves. After some time, they arrive at another location. There, Virion introduces them to his old friend named Rinia. She is not an ordinary mage. She possesses special and unique abilities that make her quite different from others. Using her magic, she creates a connection that allows Arthur to reach his parents from far away. Through this, Arthur is able to send them a message, telling them that he is safe in the elf kingdom and that he will return only after he has fully recovered. Later on, Tesha takes Arthur around the city to show him more of the place. While they are walking, a spoiled noble boy named Ferrith suddenly appears. He tries to act impressive in front of Tesha and ends up challenging Arthur to a duel. Arthur accepts without much concern and ends the fight very quickly with a single well-placed punch, leaving no room for doubt. As time passes, Virion begins training both Arthur and Tesha seriously. First, he focuses on their physical strength and endurance. After that, he moves on to teaching them magic in more detail. He explains that once they gain full control over their magic, they will be able to use elemental powers such as water, fire, wind, and earth more freely. He also teaches them about the different races and their natural abilities. Elves are naturally skilled with wind and water magic. Dwarves are better with earth and fire. Humans, however, are unique because they have the potential to use all four elements if they train properly. Later, Virion attempts to help Arthur unlock and control the mysterious power given to him by Sylvia. But the power inside Arthur is far too strong and unstable. As soon as he tries to use it, he is overwhelmed and screams in pain. A sudden and powerful burst of energy explodes outward, throwing both Tesha and Virion away. Arthur then loses consciousness completely. When Arthur finally wakes up, Virion calmly asks him about the beast power inside his body. Arthur explains that the power came from a dragon. Hearing this, Virion becomes serious and warns him to keep this information a secret from others. He then tells Arthur something important, that in 2 months he will finally be able to reunite with his parents. That same night, something very strange begins to happen. The core that Sylvia gave to Arthur starts to crack slowly. To his surprise, it turns out that it was not just a core but actually an egg all along. Soon, a small and cute dragon hatches from it. Arthur is surprised but also finds the little dragon very adorable. Suddenly, the dragon bites his wrist, leaving behind a glowing mark. This mark forms a special bond between them. Because of this connection, Arthur is now able to hear the dragon's voice directly inside his mind. Arthur then gives the dragon a name, Sylvie. The next morning, Tesha sees Sylvie and instantly becomes friends with her. She finds the little dragon very cute and enjoys playing with her. However, Virion is not very happy about having a dragon right in front of him. He understands how dangerous and rare dragons are, so he stays cautious. As days pass, Arthur continues training and slowly begins to master the beast power inside him. Seeing his progress, Virion decides it is time for a real duel. During the fight, Virion uses dark magic to make himself invisible and create a frightening presence. Arthur cannot even sense where he is, so he is defeated without being able to fight back. This loss frustrates Arthur, but he does not give up. He realizes he cannot afford to surrender so easily again. Because of this, he trains even harder, especially focusing on improving his senses. When they fight again, Arthur performs much better and is finally able to keep up with Virion. Even with all the training, Arthur still spends time with Tesha like a normal child. They talk, explore, and enjoy simple moments together. One day, while walking in the market, Arthur runs into Ferrith again. Arthur barely remembers him, but Ferrith clearly remembers Arthur. He challenges Arthur to another duel, but once again, Arthur defeats him easily. Later, Arthur learns from Ferrith's friend that Ferrith actually wanted to be friends with him but did not know how to approach him. Soon, Arthur finds out that Ferrith will be attending a special exchange festival between the three kingdoms. Ferrith then mocks Tesha, saying she cannot attend because she lost in a previous event. This makes Tesha upset. She feels even worse knowing that Arthur will soon leave, and she cannot even take part in the festival. Later, Tesha is crying alone in her room. Arthur comes to her window and brings a group of glowing fireflies, something she really loves. This cheers her up. After that, they walk into the forest together to check on the 3 hounds they saw earlier. When they find them, they feel relieved because the animals are still alive and look healthy. The mood becomes calm, and they sit near a small fire, quietly enjoying each other's company and the peaceful surroundings. The next morning, Arthur gets ready to leave the elf kingdom. Before he goes, Virion gives him a special compass marked with the seal of the elf kingdom. He explains that this compass is not ordinary. If Arthur ever wishes to come back, it will guide him safely to the kingdom again. When the teleportation gates finally open, Arthur prepares himself to step through. But suddenly, Tesha runs toward him with tears in her eyes. She tells him to be careful and take care of himself because she is truly worried about him. Arthur gently hugs her to comfort her, trying to calm her down before quietly stepping through the gate.